We're here to tap into the history of HEX. Emphasis on his story. I feel like we may be getting the masculine's perspective in a situation, their side of things, so to speak. This just something coming in initially around this download. So this is a particular wizard that wants to have their say, you could say, okay? There's definitely a masculine that's at the center of the story of the history of this hex, okay? It's a little bit of a tale as old as time, Beauty and the beast of burden that is vanity, greed, envy, lust, gluttony, and avarice, all those seven deadly sins, the vices. The vices. When I was tapping into the energy signature of this situation, I got the words irascible, polemic, and polemic. And Arisian. Okay, so this is quite an interesting dynamic in this energy signature. Irascible is like irritable energy, it's bothered energy, it's energy that's pressurized, ready to pop off. Polemic. Polemic is like arguments, controversy. It's polemic is like my view is better than yours, all while being like a cat licking your butt for all of eternity. It can be redundant. Polemic coming in there also makes me think that the influence is multiplied. Multi being the operant word here. Okay, there's multiples at play, because I really heard polemic too, like polyamorous kind of arrangements where there's more than one involved. All right. Also, I got coming in with Arisian, the energy of a golden apple has just entered the banquet hall for the fairest of them all. And so this is sort of what's at the heart of the history of this particular hex. When we're looking at the heuristic energy too, we have to also be aware of deceptively convincing arguments and reasoning at play. Eris and Loki enter a bar. They commiserate and hatch a plot to turn others' own vices upon themselves. Okay, I feel like that's a little bit of what's at play in this situation. I got the big deck out where we combined both the angels and the fallen angels. So many fallen angels. Okay, we're looking at not just benevolent elements at play in this situation, but impious elements as well, because shadow and light are always coexisting. All right. I do have some hits about potential curios to work with in this situation. We'll bring those in at the end. I want to get more of a baseline of this story. So let's see what we got coming in here around the history of this particular hex. All right. We got 9 of Swords. It's time for some purification in this situation. Yes, there were some imps at play. They may be exercising religious sentiments at this time. Now all of a sudden they're ready to turn over a new leaf. They may be experiencing the result of certain actions taken on an alchemical level here. This is what we call burning one's fingers or learning the hard way. It's a necessary step for most alchemists at one time or another. To use a little too much force to try to use their will to affect the circumstances of another. And, there's usually sort of a rough outcome on the other side of those situations. Sometimes people get really comfortable for a while. They think, oh, I've gotten away with it. I mean, that's usually the way it works. And then it'll sneak up on you when you least expect it to say, hey, there is a piper that needs to be paid. I scratched your back. Now old Scratch is here to collect on what you owe him, you know? This kind of energy, at play. All right. So there is some stuff rolling out here. There's protection from this impious influence. Okay. So if you've been concerned about this, you're already sort of like warded from this. It's kind of a continuation of the download that came in last night. So if you haven't checked out that portal report, you may want to. There's some information that came through there. Moving forward here, we might just have downloads like this. They're just kind of continuing storylines, right? As the story unfolds in our lives, we'll see how things go, and how things flow, and how to move around certain challenges the best we can. All right, so we know we got a situation here where there's some certain tricky elements at play. And we know that there is some actions coming home to roost. And crossing that, oh, interesting. Okay. Well, you know, there's like this blocking energy here. It's in the past, but we do have a Queen of Pentacles in reverse here, right on top of this Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups, divine warrior, confounds the wicked, brings victory and peace. So see, there's something here that it could have been held up, all right? It feels like it was more kind of blocking energy coming in. Somebody didn't want to see something materialize here. With the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the actions taken were coming from more of the shadow nature. So certainly if you're trying to prevent some kind of happiness, some kind of fulfillment coming in for somebody, if you're trying to block that, restrain that, then, you know, you're going to be acting more out of the shadow element here, all right? I do feel, again, there's already like this reassurance that what was blocked is about to be turned around here. But somebody was not using their noggin whenever they did what they did here, okay? And, you know, they may be looking for some kind of consolation at this time as the realization hits that maybe it's not so wise to hold things up. And sometimes people do that, right? They'll hold something up, right? Or they'll try to sort of get an opportunity for themselves by spoiling it for another. And there's many things that can drive somebody to do that. But when they see what they got, you know, it's usually a pretty rude awakening, like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have called that in. I didn't know what I was manifesting here. It's that kind of energy, you know, the realization of something being a bit of a rotten apple once you take a bite into it, right? It looks so pretty and golden and alluring on the outside. Oh, it's calling me. It's to the fairest, you know, in the ways that in our desire to have victory in a situation, or to be seen as the one that it's coming in. So I'm going to bring it in. This could be coming in a spiritual context. Like I got the chosen one kind of energy, you know, coming in, where sometimes, you know, we have a humbling experience when we realize life tends to work out better when we allow things to roll out in the way they need to roll out, even if we don't think it makes sense or it's not fair. You may not realize, you know, when something's been held up for you, how that actually works out to your advantage. So I would say too, in a case where somebody was, you know, working on that level to create blockages in something you saw as your fulfillment, there's still something coming through here in this situation that either that wasn't for you, you know, that wasn't for you, and that works out in your benefit. You may not see it yet, but you will soon, okay? Or the fact that that wasn't the right time for it, right? So all things serve their purpose here too. A lot of how you're affected by whatever energy somebody's throwing at you has everything to do with how you perceive it, how you work with that energy, right? I mean, if you know that there's an element like this in some situation where you got an interfering, probably jealous, highly competitive energy involved, that just wants to sour things, then do you really want to take that on if that comes with the deal? Probably not, so it's better to kind of clear out of that situation anyway. This is like, thank you for like kind of quarantining that issue for me. Thank you for moving that off my path. But too often people get sort of roped in with the hook, right? They bite. And that's when it becomes like a pox. That's when it becomes like a hex, because they go, no, don't take that from me. That's my precious golden apple. So do you see the way that like the vanity, the ego, the lust, the desire, the gluttony to have your fill of something that seems to be marked for another. In fact, in a lot of cases, especially in terms of avarice or hatred, there can be, I don't even want it. I just don't want you to have it. Okay. So this is kind of the energy that's the history behind this hex. That's what I'm seeing here. Okay. And there was a misuse of power. It was something that was coming from somebody who was feeling in some way inadequate. Okay. Not in their strength, not in their power. And this was how they gave themselves a false sense of that inner stature, you could say, right? That's sort of the basis of the matter. It could have been coming from someone's ex in a situation in matters of the heart, okay? Because the Queen of Pentacles can sometimes be, a marital partner, or somebody you have a serious committed relationship with. It could also be something that's been affecting you on a business level as well. So polemic, I mean, with that coming through, it can be any kind of group situation, really. But where there was somebody in this situation seemed to have, it seems like some kind of the target on a particular person, not wanting this person to have fulfillment. In some way, it gave them a sense of inner stature to block this. All right. That's how it's coming through. We know with the Recian energy coming in, this is a bit of chaos magic at play. Okay. That chaos can come through in many different ways. It could be coming through somebody who actually works with those methods, certainly. But you have to understand, when it comes to matters of Recian, anything goes. Okay, so if you're trying to find rhyme or reason to this, you're going to be quite burdened in the process. 10 of Wands coming in here, somebody was pretty relentless with these workings. I feel like they thrown a lot at a particular situation for a long period of time. They really wanted to hold this power over others. Part of what gave them a certain level of power was some kind of cloaking that they had in this situation. In other words, it wasn't the usual suspect. They were more kind of controlling things behind the scene. That's how they made their checkmate moves. Now, with the lion energy here, this could be like something that has a long history to it, actually. And for those of you who are sort of like resonant with that past lives kind of scenario, you could feel like you've dealt with something multiple incarnations here. And even if that doesn't resonate with you, it feels like multiple lifetimes packed into this life with this particular person and this particular issue. Okay. It's like somebody you faced off with before, but there's something here about their identity being concealed from you for a while. This person is somebody who does things behind the scenes. There's somebody who likes to be hidden, okay? They do. And it's almost that aspect that gives them a false sense of empowerment. It's that ability to be able to wear a disguise and to play both roles that gives them this feeling of being like a mastermind, like orchestrating things to their liking. And they're very fickle. They're fickle in the sense of 1 minute they'll be loyal to you and they can be the source of your healing, and the next minute they can be the cause of your suffering if you do something that doesn't appeal to their sensibilities. Also, if you tell them things, if you confide in them, which I feel like they're really good at getting you to feel like there's this sense of loyalty there, they're the first to go and spill the secrets and tell everybody what you really want hidden. But meanwhile, they're good at cloaking their intentions in regard to this. This person shapeshifts. This person switches sides. This person straddles the fence. This is this person. They play both ends to the middle, right? And they like to do this because it keeps people in the dark. And as long as they're in the dark, then there's something here that gives them a little bit of an advantage. We got the Four of Swords here. See, they can come through like they're there to save the day. They can come through like a soldier rising in your defense to what's rising up against you, all while hiding that they're the ones who orchestrated it in the first place. That's how that energy comes out. All right. With that, it's a Queen of Wands in reverse. Okay. So we got a Queen of Pentacles in reverse, Queen of Wands in reverse. They're in hiding now. They're in hiding now because they feel the energy is starting to whip back around, right? Yep. And this very well could be like a spurned lover with the Queen of Wands in reverse, feeling that another is getting something that they desired, but they thought they could acquire by being put in a position of being on the side. Like that's not anything that's going to really acquire the desired ends if you want to be. It's weird the way the energy's coming out. It's like whoever this person is, they want to be revered. That's how it's coming through. But how can they expect to be revered when it's artificial? You know, it's like this orchestration. It's not something that's springing up naturally from the ground of their being. And not saying that it couldn't, not saying that there isn't something really worthwhile that this person has to share, right? I know, people have issues when you bring in stuff like this. No, they're just an evil, rotten person. But look at the reality is when people are acting out from this level within themselves, it's because there's something inside of them that isn't feeling empowered. There's something inside of them that isn't feeling their strength. So they use their fire in a very distorted way, a destructive way, not recognizing that really it's like they're burning their own home down. I don't know why I heard that. They're burning their own home down. Like maybe they were trying to, we had a lot of root messages come in yesterday. So maybe they were trying to affect like that sense of home for you. And that sense of home, it can be certainly like your physical home. It can also be your roots, how you're being affected with your family, with people that you consider family, your community. It can be your financial stability, all of that energy. But it's weird because this is how it's coming through. It's like they're burning their own home down. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. I'm not going to bring in the signs. I'm not going to bring in the signs around this. I'm going to let it speak for itself. I don't want people to get tripped out with me bringing in the signs, and automatically starting to label people and this and that. It's kind of like not really the point I'm getting here. There's a need to like look a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper in this situation if it's truly to be transformed. Because obviously, if you're tuning into this in some way, you're roped into this, okay? In some way, your energy is entangled in this situation. So it's not so important to really know these details. I mean, I think you already know who it is. I don't need to call out signs, right? Okay. So this is really about you tapping into how can you alchemize this situation. Let me get some more details here. Specifically, what is the nature of the work that was done? I mean, I know it's some kind of blocking work to hold back the fulfillment of something. This gives me a vibe of some kind of delay work, It's interesting because when I was tapping into the energy, I also got this message of pull one up by the root, ward and nourish the other. It's like there's something that's needed here for transformation in a situation. And again, it's that aspect, like something's been spoiled at the root. Through infiltration, outside energy. We brought this in last night on the download. So there's a need to pull up one, but really nourish the other. Almost like there's been something tapping into the roots that's been nourished, and in the process of it getting really full, it's been taking that sense of fullness from another aspect of the roots, right? This could, for some of you, have something to do with, something you actually planted in the earth, like some kind of working you did, right? Some kind of working you did where you planted something in the earth. Something needs to be pulled up by the root, and whatever else is there needs to be warded. Okay? It's interesting. That'll speak very specifically to a certain individual, I feel. Right? If you've been having questions like, should I go and dig that up? Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe you should. 22:44 on the clock, okay? Maybe you should. Especially if it was anything you did that you attached somebody else to. That's a kind of a binding work, all right? That'll get some serious repercussions. Things like that, things like putting people on ice, same thing. You wonder why you're stalled out. You're wondering why things are like drying up for you. You're wondering why things aren't moving forward. That's what that'll get you. You may have like an initial false sense of like, oh, I got one over, but it catches up. And that's the kind of stuff that accrues with time. It's very problematic, okay? Yes. See, the basis here of this matter is that somebody wanted to steal something, make it their own by getting very familiar with it. Again, it's a past matter. We got the lion energy come out. That always makes me think of the strength card. Okay, so this is a past matter that's been going on for a long time. It's got bones to it. And there's a need to really find a way through this situation. There may be two people connected to this matter too. All right, I just got this coming in. Like two people working together. It could be a Queen of Wands in reverse and a Queen of Pentacles. So I might want to find out, is it the same person? Or are these two separate people? Kind of deck here. The World. Okay, this is being brought to completion. And again, it came out crossing. So what was fixed, what was being held in place, it's about to come undone. But see, that means that energy is about to whip around. So there may be some of you sort of preparing to do something to start to really like counter strike this energy. That's how it's coming through. I wouldn't do that. Not when it's just about to really, come undone here. It's like something has served its cycle of transformation. There might be like one final attempt at provocation, and you'd be wise not to take the bait because it's just about to clear out. That's what I feel here. Yeah, look, you can't see it right now, the bottom of the deck, 3 of Wands. There's some opening of the road that's coming in here for you. There's something finally coming in that you've been waiting for. Your job is just to be in this place, just trusting and opening yourself up to receiving what's been held back here. Right now, the universe is under construction, so it really depends on the energy you're holding. There's a lot of really big things in the works here that you can't see. They're being seeded right now on the quantum field. And you do have protection from this oppositional energy. But I feel like this character here is in a situation where when you got fire in reverse here, that's somebody who's just being super impulsive and they're taking just these repeat actions, but it's sort of like just making more of a mess of things and it's accruing more energy in their direction because you've already it looks like you already got free of this. Whenever we're in a situation like this, there's always two sides to that story. So it means that you both, whoever you and the other or others are, you've all been involved in a process of like balancing something out. So if you've gotten free of it and then, here comes one or maybe a couple trying to stir things up again, you take the bait, then you quintessentially fall for the trap. Right? You fall for the trap and you end up having this, 3 of Wands, what you've been waiting for. It's been held up, finally coming in for you, eludes you. It passes you by. This is when you really have to exercise your wisdom as the hermit here. Okay. You have to really pay attention. Pay attention. Notice when the energy starts to feel blocked. When does the energy start to stall out? When do you start to feel drained? When do you start to feel like revitalized as well? Look at this in terms of your different situations, your different dynamics. All right. You'll know what things are actually supporting the forward momentum. If there's something about this, like you have to get. You can't be stubbornly like hoping for a particular outcome. There's this need to have radical trust around something that eluded you. There's this message coming through that whatever was blocked, okay, whatever was held up, whatever was eluded, it works out in your favor. Something comes in its place. You do need to be aware, though, that as this wants to come in, there's also these characters here. These characters here who interfered in the past, who will want to try to come back around, find entry here. And there should be warding. There should be warding around this with the 9 of Wands. You do have a strong and faithful fighter by your side. You do have somebody around you who is seeing the truth of a situation, and some judgment finally came in for them with temperance here. Okay? There's something that is really being seen clearly, and I feel like this is like sort of like, it's almost like when you sound the horn to like charge, it's got that kind of energy. Like there's somebody here that finally has seen something They've seen something through a lot of illusion and trickery that came in with the devil to the Ten of Swords here. This person is now seeing something that they couldn't see before. Somebody in this situation is a necromancer. They work with necromancy quite extensively. They also favor more of a left-hand path. It's coming through quite strongly. But I feel like there's been some dream that's come in that revealed a particular devil's hands. Like somebody's got some sight that came in through a dream that answered a question. It answered a question for them. And once they sort of tapped into this through their consciousness, whoever this is, they're a very strong lucid dreamer. However they tapped into this with their consciousness, it finally like awakened the fire within them, like they knew who they were to be faithful to in this situation. They were able to identify a particularly tricky character here. And this person's going to come in and issue a warning. They're going to let somebody know about something that's brewing here. And they're also hoping to sort of like warm the waters. With the way the energy is coming in, though, I even feel, though, this character is approaching in a way where they're wanting to support and balancing something out. They do have a very slippery, tricky quality to their character, a very seducing kind of energy signature that one should be aware of in this case. You should be aware that this person is an occultist as well. And this is part of their aim in this situation, is to gain some access. See, you got to be aware with the Two of Cups in reverse. Be aware of what's being offered here in terms of some kind of partnering energy. Talking about how I'm on your side, I will stand with you. Like, I could see that it could be very appealing to vanity, and that you would want to take a bite of that golden apple. Oh, you chose me. I'm the fairest of them all. I don't know, it's got some glamour energy around it. And with that, we got the Queen of Cups coming in here, right? Queen of Cups may be choosing to like shut it down, man. Queen of Cups is saying, no, nobody's getting the cookies in my cookie jar here. There is already suspicion of this. Somebody is suspecting that there's like manipulative elements at work in a situation with the Three of Pentacles. And they're exercising their mental force in this situation to resist, perhaps resist what is very tempting, what is being called into. Again, like somebody may, when we look at chaos magic too, sometimes that does involve sex magic. Okay, so this could be somebody who works on that level. They could work on that level in the physical if this is somebody that you've been connecting to in that way. I did get a lot of energy coming in around the solar plexus and a need to nourish the solar energy. There's a need to bring the fire forward because the fire's been depleted within. It's through this like siphoning energy. Naturally, if something first gets spoiled at the root, it's going to start to come up through those foundational energetic pathways of the chakra system. It's going to affect Muladhara. It's going to affect the grounding. It's going to affect the stability. It's going to affect the foundational matters of your life, the home, the work, your ability to support yourself, to feel supported by the others that are in your life, your friendships, your family relationships, your romantic connections, okay? And then you go up the next level, you get to Svadhisthana, you get to the sacral chakra, and that can block your creativity. It can block your ability to like manifest things in your life, to like manifest those opportunities, to get traction where you want to go. It can also block new beginnings for you. It can make your harvest sort of like wither on the vine because it doesn't have the creative energy to like back it up. There's no energy like sort of pouring into the fruition of something coming into being. And so the avenue dries up. And when we look at the third chakra, we look at Manipura, and that is like, it is the center of you. It is the center of your universe. It is the energy of the sun coming in strongly. And I did get a piece about one way that you can balance this work out. And it may seem like something quite unassuming, but what came through was chamomile. And chamomile is very gentle. And chamomile is all about cultivating a sense of inner peace. And I want you to think about the nature of chaos magic. You look at chaos magic, and what does it do? Well, it works with that frenetic force of, you know, really stirring things up. So how do you master a hurricane? How do you master a tornado? How do you master a whirling dervish? Well, the dervishes know you put yourself at the center of that centrifugal force. So you bring yourself into the eye of the storm, and there you find it's but a storm in a teacup, because you're mastering the energy internally, which can only happen with a lot of rooting, which can only happen with a lot of grounding. This piece coming in, I want to bring this piece in. Ginseng will help you a lot at this time. Those of you that are alchemists, it's very specific for the magician at this time. Very much aligned with the energies of Uranus and Jupiter, okay? The unexpected, the surprise elements, the things that can come along that can be like pulling a rug out from under you. Those experiences can be very amplified, especially when there's this kind of alchemy at play, all right? And the key is to be able to learn how to ride that out in such a way where you can just grok the mana from it. And you can grok the mana from it if you can internally master the energy by being in the calm center of everything that's sort of whirling around you. If you can bear witness to it instead of taking the bait and getting hooked into energetic agreement with it, you actually can really use it to power up. It brings about a sort of a focal point. You could see it as a focal point for inner mastery, like viewing this sort of chaotic energy or the unstable dynamics as an opportunity to master the situation internally rather than moving into an external fray, which is only going to disrupt your energy further. Then it allows it to find an energetic pathway into you. So part of it is about really remembering that there's something about the energy that's been bound up. Ginseng brings boundless energy. It's an adaptogen, and it can give one endurance, right? And there's something about this, because I feel like with this particular situation, somebody has thrown something in a particular direction over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they still missed. This is what I'm hearing. They still missed. They still missed because the aim wasn't true. This is kind of how it's coming through, because the aim wasn't true. All right. But in the process, like you may have gotten worn down at one point, because you might have gotten yourself in the mindset of, I got to fend this off, I got to fight this off, or even just the idea, even entertaining the idea allows a certain weakening element to come in, a certain mind virus to come in that allows you to get tapped into this energy current that you have nothing to do with. You don't need to take this on. You don't need to take this on. See, this is part of the test of the path too. It's like, can you stay in your center no matter what anybody is throwing at you? If you truly have mastered your own energy and you know how to be centered in your own essence, like it will not even affect you. You won't take the bait. See, this is the source of healing that comes in here. This is the protection. It's like we were talking about the other night. The answers are all right here. Don't be distracted by that. Close your eyes. Turn your attention upward toward the source of light, toward your pineal gland. You need to stimulate this area of the mind. It's through focusing on the right source of what's needing attention that you will find great clarity that allows you to cut through that illusion, because that's all that energy is when people are working with stuff like this. It's illusion, it's smoke and mirrors. It only gains credence if you take the bait, you get hooked into the energy. Well, now you're part of architecting that reality tunnel, you see. King of Cups energy here. There is a good familiar that is wanting to come in here, right? But they've been held up a little bit because either they or you are caught up in some kind of glamour and being distracted by it, rather than understanding that the way you can truly break this hex and free yourself from this binding is to take your attention away from it. It will wither on the vine of its own accord. It's parasitic in nature. It requires your focus, your attention, your awareness for it to thrive. The minute you take your attention off of it, it withers on the vine. Put your attention here. There's a need to strengthen the seer within, the seer that is the Atman. Okay, it's the bridge between, you could say, the quantum field and what you see manifest in your reality. But you see, you're the bridge, you're the way through. Those particles are out there on the quantum field. They're getting it on. They're ready to bring something into being. They're like, yeah, let's get it on. Let's make a baby. What do you want to bring through? What do you want to create? And you're like over here, like creating fuckery for yourself by trying to figure out mess like this instead of just being aware, like, yeah, I can feel attempts, for my energy to be influenced, but I recognize that. And in recognizing that, then all I need to do is not put my awareness on that anymore. Okay, that's there. And what do I want to focus my attention on? Because it's a distractionary energy, right? It's a distractionary energy. And truly, it affects those who cast it more than it does their targets. When their targets understand this and they're able to be empowered, right? Because if you take your focus off of it, then all of a sudden they're just in a position where no longer is there an outlet. They just have to like marinate in their own energy. Who's caught up? It's not you. You're only caught up because you're caught up by the spell, like, what are they doing over there? It don't matter. This is what I'm seeing here. This is what I'm seeing. So has this been in play a long time? Yeah. Has there been somebody that's been throwing something at you? Oh, a hell of a lot. Yeah, for a long time. Why? They felt insecure for some reason. For some reason, they felt if you experience some kind of fulfillment or happiness, that somehow bore some kind of meaning to their own personal sense of value. Or if an opportunity went to you and not them, then it meant in some way that they were less than. I mean, it's really like people who do this kind of stuff, it's very young parts of them acting up. This is something that needs to be remembered too, people who do this kind of stuff, they're dealing with real foundational issues that can never be healed by trying to affect another. It just keeps them more in that place of these repetitive cycles, right? So again, now you know the motive, right? You know the intention here. Page of Pentacles. There is somebody coming in here that does want to reconnect, right? They're offering friendship and reconciliation. They're offering allegiance here. It's just a start, okay? You might have to learn how to connect with this person again. You might have to learn how to connect with this person in a different way. Yeah, I mean, because there's a lot that has happened here. Again, we got the world. We got the world, right? Covering this, crossing this. So it's saying, hey, potentially this may be something that you just choose to put behind you because of the injury. And that's okay too. I mean, I do feel like somebody is coming through here and they want you to know about something. But, I mean, are they playing the same old tune? Possibly. Are they trying to lead you in a particular direction? They might be, right? Could be a little bit of that Piper kind of action here, right? But I also feel like there's this understanding that there's been injury in this situation. And maybe the very thing that you need to free yourself from, this person is still kind of chained to. So this energy is still coming in. I see the mutual injury there, but there's also still kind of like, look, it's like they're still kind of bound together here, right? But what they may not realize is they might be looking to you, like as a key or the answer in some way in a situation. But all this dude here needs to do is just drop the chains, right? And then this one's free too. It's like an illusion. They're not stuck. They've just become very attached to their chains. And that happens to some people sometimes. Let's do a kind of deck energy. Yeah, look at this, Ace of Cups. So I feel like you're in a process where soon you're going to be receiving. And this energy came in earlier, a few readings ago, about the 27th, that Pisces new moon being the beginning of a receiving cycle. And I feel like this is when it begins here. So there is some cleansing happening here, and influence that was holding you back is moving out of the sphere of influence. The history of the HEX now is rather, irrelevant in the sense of now you know the history. It's like you have the confirmation. If this is your story, you know it because this is what you were picking up on. This is what's coming through. But now it's like it's out of your hands. Like you asked to be relieved of it, right? You asked for this problematic situation to be taken from you. And the only way you can let that happen is if you get out of the way. Like you really have to let it go. That means you can't continue to worry about this, be stressed about this, and sort of hold your witch trials and hunt people. It just keeps you attached to this. You'll deal with this cycle again. Some may fall for it. You may. Some may. It's coming in. Some may go for another round of this, because we have to remember, that miraculous chalice, that Ace of Cups, is just an opportunity. You can choose to spill the Ace of Cups. People do it all the time. Yeah, do you see the way you can sabotage yourself with the Page of Swords coming in here? All right. And there's some things that are up ahead too that you can't know about yet, because if you knew about these things, that it would spoil your initiatory process. And that's a bit of the path of alchemy as well. You can't have all the answers here. You have to be able at some point be true to yourself and trust your own inner compass to guide you here. But there are some things that govern the realm of dreams that are mysteries, and they're hidden from mortals, and it's not time for you to know those things yet. And maybe you don't need to know all about all of this either. All you needed is the confirmation, yeah, you were suspecting that. This is why. This is what went down. Right? This is what went down. High Priestess behind that. right? You see, you're getting access into what was secret knowledge here. And you got protection here. You got liberation here. What is yours, what is due you is preserved. 9 of Pentacles coming up right behind that. You got your protection here. On the other side of this ending, time's up for this. Like, this is no longer an influence, so relieve yourself of the burden of even thinking about this any longer. What is your true reward is preserved for you. Nothing has been lost here, not truly. It may have been held up. For some of you, it may have even been legally held up. Something that's legally, rightfully yours has been held up, and you're going to finally receive it. Whatever is going on here, though, you have protection, right? You have protection. As long as you stay true to what your soul is telling you, as long as you're trusting your intuition, you have to work with that energy of the water in this situation. There is water needed in this situation. There is a need to have cleansing, to cleanse the vision, to come to a place where you can soften and you can release being in this like holding pattern, because that's what's preventing you from being able to receive. And I understand if you took on some kind of hex energy and you got into energetic agreement with it, and so it got you used to living from a contracted space. But that's why your money ain't working. That's why the opportunities aren't coming in. That's why love feels blocked. That's why you feel like there's no growth. That's why you feel held up, because you're still in that contracted space. You choosing to shed off those shackles and release yourself from this sense of binding is as easy as you saying, I'm no longer in energetic agreement with that. And I'm not even giving that any of my awareness anymore. You got to starve it. You got to starve it at the roots. You got to sound that angel's trumpet. It's sure pretty. It's sure pretty. Angel's trumpet. It's so beautiful. It's very beautiful. You know, it's very beautiful. It's very alluring. It's from, you know, the same family as Datura. So it's that devil's apple kind of energy. Here comes the apple again, you know, rolling through the storyline as well. And this was the nature of what was set in motion. And it's been the nature of hexes since the dawning of time, that's what it's for. It's to turn others' vices against them, so they can learn how to transmute the energy and grow beyond it, so they can truly become alchemists. Anybody who finds their way onto the path of alchemy, this comes with the territory, learning how to refine intention, really understanding the deeper complexity of that, what it means to wield power, to hold it. The way that one exercises power can very easily be turned upon oneself. Mm-hmm. So the best thing you can do is work with chamomile, because chamomile is a very patient teacher, and chamomile will teach you the power of peace. And chamomile will teach you the power of gentleness through deer medicine. Chamomile will teach you the power of letting go. And to focus the awareness on that which brings a sense of tranquility, equanimity. Then the waters become very still. Then the waters have great clarity. Then we can scry what needs to be seen to know the next step before us. Chamomile was sacred to the Norse, considered one of their 9 sacred herbs. It's very beneficial to prevent further bleeding. So there's a situation where there's been enough bad blood. There's a situation where enough vital life force has been lost. There's a situation where the bleeding needs to be staunched. There's a situation where there needs to be a poultice put on something that's been an open wound for too long so power can be regained. And there's something about transmuting that wound, just came in with the download last night, that is the source of a treasure for you, a source of your treasure, your 9 of Pentacles. It obtains you shielding for your stone of destiny, but it requires you pulling something up out at the root, right? And this brings about the healing. It brings the cleansing that comes with the cauldron of Dagda, right? There's this point, it's an opportunity to choose whether you're going to accept the fate of one who has been victimized by hexes and the poisoned arrows sent one's way, or whether you're going to recognize that those very poison arrows are the source of your empowerment, that they are what tested your mettle to refine you as the alchemist, as the magician, the high priestess. It's this energy. Okay? You automatically enter that flow of accepting challengers on your path when you choose to go down the path of alchemy. It's something that's required. How can you really test your ability to alchemize unless you're presented with something that's a poison that needs to be transmuted? You have to get very familiar with imbibing poison. You have to get very familiar with building a resilience to that which would poison others by exposing yourself to that which makes you terribly uncomfortable, by exposing yourself to what you fear, by facing it directly. This is the way you gain the empowerment. This is par for the course. So there's also this piece about the history of a hex where some groups of alchemists have been traveling with each other throughout eons. You've been on a campaign together for eons. Different campaigns, same old game. Same cast of characters, different meat suits. That's all it is. It's the same energy, tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast, right? But the beauty always calms the beast in the end. The beauty is the bloom. The beauty is the sweetness of the rose, not the thorns. And only when somebody realizes that they are their own source of holding on to the thorns and that, oh, I can relieve it, I can alchemize this, I can transmute it, I can heal myself. All I have to do is just let go. Wow, okay, now it doesn't hurt anymore. Some things aren't meant to be picked. Some things aren't meant to be hoarded. It's not about who can grab the bloom the fastest and rip it from its resting place, but who can just take the time to stop and appreciate the beauty of the roses, to stop and smell the roses, to take things in, to appreciate the beauty of everything that's blooming around you right here and now. But people want the thorns. They want to feel justified in acting out of their lower shadow natures than rather own that that's an aspect of me that I need to purify here. And it's so easily projected onto the other and labeling them the villain than it is to own that in myself. It's the true work of alchemy. So even the hexes, when they're viewed in the right light, they do you a favor. They do test your magical chops as well, you know? If you're not able to understand when your energy is being manipulated, then there's much schooling ahead, right? There's much more to learn on this path ahead. It's interesting how it's coming through, right? That's another thing too. Too many can get identified with, like, I need to be the high priestess. I need to be the one, the master of the universe. And it's like, we're all in that role here. It's like competing for a spot that's already been filled by the true seer behind us all, right? It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny if you think about it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot learned in that process too, of allowing yourself to be led as well. Sometimes alchemists can get too full of themselves. They can get in that space. I'm the master of the universe. I can make anything happen. Well, just because you could doesn't mean you should. And you could very well regret it. You know, maybe your biggest lesson yet. That's the way it comes through often. Right? Interesting energies out here on the board. There's a little bit of just about everybody out here. Got a little earth, a lot of fixed sign energy, I'm noticing predominantly. There's a lot of water here too. Got some wands, a little earth, not a lot of earth. We did have Page of Swords come through. That's about all we've had in terms of air energy. That's really sort of making me think of that message that came in about air. It's time for you to be about strategizing. What's your strategy? What's your next move? You're going places. What is your next move? What's your next step? Stay focused. Right? Page of Swords coming out upright as it did. That's about having a certain strategy in play. All right? A strategy based on fluidity, I just heard, okay? Don't get stuck, right? Don't let it get fixed, but do sort of exercise the information that's fallen into your lap or is about to shortly. That's how it's coming through, okay? Oh, yes. Angels on the outfield coming in here, bringing about change and inspiration like a bolt out of the blue. Somebody's coming in, a certain angel is coming in on the scene to provide a clue about a way through. This could be an earth angel. This could be somebody that shows up on your path under a guise that some may pass by because they would assume that there isn't something holy going down. Beware of how you treat strangers, right? You never know who you might be meeting here. Oh, yes, this is somebody that you're meeting here that's a little otherworldly, I have to say, but it's something that stirs things up. It creates revolution in your world. I got that, right? It starts to call in some sense of happiness. It's like something here puts you back in your own essential nature, really puts you in your sun energy, your solar energy. It gives you impetus to take action. And it stirs things up in your world, but it also warms things up. It's a beginning coming in here for you with high ace of sky. A message comes in and it makes the clouds part. Finally, you see a way forward. You see a way through. You see the light at the end of a dark tunnel. Comes in with savior energy. I think you're going to feel that about this, okay? This messenger coming in for you. Maybe they're really saving your ass in a situation. You feel like you now know what you need to do. You know the next step once you get this message. It's like you're getting a message here. See, with that Page of Swords energy, you're getting a message here. Here's that high ace of air, right? And you're studying the message. You're getting a picture of the scenario here, and then based on that, you're figuring out your next move. You're figuring out your next move. It's interesting because you're not talking about it either, okay? Notice the bandana over the mouth there. You're not talking about it either. Something gives you refuge here. It's giving you some kind of insight in something that's been a mystery, something that normally a mortal wouldn't have access to, but it's like you're having like a brush with like an earth angel energy, somebody who comes through as a guide to give you a clue about how to build the foundation of your future, something that will really thrive coming in here. You see? It's you using your quantum mind, to allow your energy to call in something from the quantum field, root it in material reality. This might be like the beginning of an old manifestation. I got this too. There might be something, okay, that you're meant to call in here. But in order for you to call it in, it's sort of like there was this old karmic score that needed to be settled that was related to this history of a HEX. This had to play out and it had to be stirred up so all this energy could be cleared out. It had almost like a butterfly effect in the sense that the reverberation of this was felt across many lives. I feel there's like almost like a network of connectivity here of people that were affected by this, right? And so it's like this energy really needed to be whipped up to be cleared out. And now it's bringing in the warmth of the sun. It's like the dawning of a new energy that's the foundation for what will be brought in the future. Look at this. We got rainbow. So it's the promise on the other side of that storm, the storm in a teacup. If you stay focused, the activating point is coming soon. 9 of sky comes in like a bolt out of the blue. 9-degree energy signature, 9 universal year we're in right now. 9 degrees, Pisces new moon comes in on the 27th. That breaks down to 9. Okay, so there's something here that gives one a sense of peace, that a dream is finally making it out of the quantum field through the bridge of you, and the foundation of it is being laid in your life. It's supported here. Mother Earth, okay? Something's being drawn down and rooted in your material reality. It comes as a shock, okay? You've been subject to the joker of the sky here in this situation that's been making time sort of a mutable thing. And now there's a certain timeline that is merging, this already came in here. So this moment is very close at the end, I have to say. But all this that was going on back there, it's really being put behind you. I do feel like there's sort of like one last provocation, but I have to be real with you. You'd have to be really blowing it and not paying attention to get sucked back into that again, right? Yes. And here again, see, we got Sister Earth, and there's this bird flying here. So this is about, the river keeps flowing on, you never step in the same river twice. And so this is understanding that you're now entering this waterway, right? And hop on in, because the water is quite different from what you were immersed in before. You might have been in a situation where the waters were murky, the waters were troubled, the waters washed you out to sea. But this is the place where all you have to do is just like let go, give yourself over to the flow, and you're going to be carried forward here. What's coming in here is nurturing what's about to grow. It has you moving in partnership with the earth here. And it's the ignition of your passion between two. Poppy medicine, right? Neptunian energy here. So again, you have to pay attention to these themes. Do you really want to take a rest in the poppy fields? It's tempting when you're on the road. You're just about to get to the other side of the rainbow. Are you going to find that pot of gold? Are you going to be able to just ease on down that road, give yourself over to the flow of the waterway? Or are you going to be tricked? Are you going to be tricked? Are you going to be seduced? Oh, it's okay. Just rest for a moment here. In the poppy field, sleep, my pretty, be careful of that, right? Because see, there's passion that wants to awaken here. But it does require that you let the shadows fall behind you, and you face the sun. Then there's freedom for two. Do you see? There's freedom for two here. Two get their wings. Two get their wings. Also, when you set yourself free, there's others that are freed as well. And there could be almost like a sort of a triad kind of situation here coming in. Three people connected to a situation all get free. Two may be getting free to fly off together. It's no less liberation for this one here. They may not understand that immediately, but they will in time. Right? They will in time. They need to get more rooted. They got work to do in the south. I'm thinking of the Elven Star now. And down in one of the south quarters is the spirit of the wood. And that's all about working with that tree medicine to not lose one's essential nature, and also to really mimic the energy of the trees to find one's grounding, especially in terms of being able to ward off any energies that feel like they're coming at you, right? So it's about learning how to give oneself over with the force rather than pushing back up against it. It is working with a more mutable energy here. But I do see that two are already advancing here to a new timeline. That's what it looks like. They're finding a freedom. They've already made it to the top of a certain mountaintop. They've already gotten a certain vantage point. And there's one here that's left behind that also gets a liberation as well. They too will see a sun off in their horizon too. It's just their trajectory is a little different. Yeah. They're in prayer mode right now. I thought that they might have a special prayer around their family too. It's coming in very strongly that requires them to maybe focus more on nurturing the family, nurturing the roots at this time. It's a necessary sacrifice, but ultimately it's the remedy that brings this one liberation as well. Let me do a cut of the deck here, see what we got. Yeah, look at this. So there's some wish that's set in motion that's finally coming to fruition here for Sky Daughter. Okay, something that was set upon the breeze. Isn't that wild? It's like the dandelion seed heads. I love how that filtered in here. So something has been warded, something has been protected, spoiled soil has been renewed, and now new things can grow. So this is some fruition of a wish that was set free. It's really taking its time though, because of the Joker of the sky. So I feel like there is one little test here left with this Joker of the sky. It's a really interesting energy. That Joker of the sky. What's behind him? Ooh. Well, no way around it, man. The gift of fire, okay? The fire test of truth. So are you going to find the way through? It's all about your doors of perception. They hold the key, right? But one thing's certain, you walk through this door, what comes in comes out the other side quite different than it was before. And you should prepare yourself for this magic moment. More to come.